I'm Jim from Come Play With Us, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Vengeance Roll and Fight, Episode 1. This is basically a roll and write game based on an earlier board game that I have not played, called Vengeance. So I can't really comment on that game or how this plays like that. So I'll just be, reviewing the game as is, because this is the only incarnation of this game that I have played. Besides that, this game did intrigue me. Looked like a different type of roll and write type of game, and I do like roll and write games, and so, I thought I'd give this one a try. So let's start by talking about the components for this game. So in this game, you're going to get a whole bunch of these kind of dual-sided, dry erase boards that have different kind of dens on them, or maps, that you'll be traversing during the game. I love the art on these boards. They are really nice, very high quality. All the iconography on the boards is easy to read, and they erase well and everything. So and everything. The only thing I guess about these boards is, there's some outlines on here that you have to draw around to indicate how much health the boss has, or when you're doing objectives and stuff. And sometimes when you're circling things, that doesn't really stand out as much. Maybe they should have used the I've seen for the Twilight Imperium roll and write one, they had this kind of like translucent or really bright dry erase markers that really stood out. Maybe they should have used that kind of thing for this, but they've just got the standard ones here, and the black doesn't quite stand out sometimes, especially because this bottom row here, it's a white dash on black, and then so if you're circling it, it's not super obvious. Yeah, so maybe you could highlight it or something, color it in or something like that. But yeah, that's probably kind of like the only real issue I have with that. The player boards are also dry erase boards, but they're brighter, and so when you're marking stuff off on these, it stands out a lot easier than on this board here. So yeah, this one's fine, and everything erases fine and everything, so it's pretty well done, really high quality. So yeah, I think that's kind of neat. I do love the fact that roller writes are moving away from throwaway like pen or pencil and paper, that you have the boards and you throw. I like the dry erase boards much better. Not having to, especially not having to refill it or anything like that. I really appreciate the move to a dry erase board. I think it's much more reusable and a better model to go for. The dice in this game are awesome. I love these dice. So you get these are the ones that you roll during the thing. They have some the guns and knives and people running and blood on them. So they're pretty cool. I like the weight of them. They're plastic. They roll quite nice, so they're pretty good. And these other ones are you don't roll these ones as much. They're pretty good too. The symbology on them is really nice and everything. So yeah, the dice, you get quite a few of them there. The dice are pretty nice in here. The art in general is really nice in the game. You've got a few cards in here that have cool art on them that really fit the theme. And then you have these tiles. All these things are dry erase as well. These tiles and the that stand for the items and the extra abilities you can get. Yeah, and you'll get the I think it's 4 dry erase markers in the box. So that's all pretty good. The storage solution is also really well. Everything fits in there. It has a place in there, fits in there really nice. The instructions, I found, I didn't really find any issues with the rules. They were easy to read and understand. There's no index or anything, but it's a like 8-page rule book, so no biggie there. I do wish they had. I guess they do have a turn summary. There's no turn summary. I think that's the only problem I would say is there's you get this cheat sheet here that tells you how what the different enemy types do and that, but there's no real turn summary anywhere except for kind of in the rule book here. So it would have been nice to have a turn summary on the back, or on the player board or something, but that's a minor quibble. Otherwise, I think component wise, you're getting a lot of good value for money, especially since this game is relatively inexpensive. If you just get the one. Now there's episode 2 as well, so I guess you could argue the full game, might be more expensive if you want to get both. But I mean, I think there's enough content in here for a single game. I mean, you're getting a bunch of bosses and characters. I think there's like 4. Let's see what there is in here. I think there was 4 characters and a number of bosses. I mean, you're getting 10 maps, so that's pretty good. So I mean, I find, yeah, 4 heroes and 9 bosses, plus the 10 different boards. I mean, so you can play this 4 players. You get the 4-player boards. So I'm not sure if combining them makes it an 8-player game. I mean, yeah, you'd have twice the dice and everything. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to play that way. It is mostly multiplayer solitaire, so. But yeah, photo-wise, great. Not much to argue there. Okay, mechanics-wise. So I think the standout mechanic for this game, like I said, it is mostly a multiplayer solitaire, but there is the one mechanic where you've got this shared dice pool in the middle of the table, and you can roll 4 at a time, and it's not really Yahtzee style. You can keep rolling as much as you want as long as you don't roll these blood symbols. And even then, if you roll a bunch of blood symbols, you can take a hit to re-roll those. So you can just keep rolling, and you're just trying to roll the abilities at the top so you can trigger them in the next phase. And it's kind of a race with the other players. So you're grabbing dice. There's a limited pool of dice in the middle. You're trying to get as many abilities rolled as you can before the other players around the table. So I really like that interaction point. That's really neat. The kind of scramble to get your stuff done. So I think that's unique to this game, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the game. I think that's the most standout thing about this game. The rest of the mechanics are all right. I mean, you're slowly building your character. You can get some items you've got 4 items that you can trigger. They each have 3 uses on them. You can do some training and skill up. You've got a set of 8 skills for each character that differentiates them, and during the game you can get up to 4 of these. And then there's a whole bunch of different ways to score. The map part is really cool because this is where it kind of sets it apart from other roll and writes, in that you are still trying to get combinations to do scoring, but they add the kind of thematic element of like traversing the map and finding a good path through the map. Which enemies you should kill, what objectives you should go after, kind of what route you have to take, how do you kill the boss and that kind of thing. So I think that's really interesting and really sets this one apart. It's not just kind of doing combinations and stuff for scores. You've got a little puzzle here to solve, but it is beyond the fight for the dice. That's the only real interaction in the game. Everything else is just kind of solitary. You're just doing that. You're not comparing scores at the end. So, but I still think it's really cool. Yeah, so that's all it is mechanics wise. I say mechanics wise, it's easy to learn. There's not too much there. It's pretty smooth, and yeah, it's just I like the mechanics in general for this game. Okay, so bad thing. What do I not like about this game? I guess there could be a bit more interaction. Although I do really like the interactive part with the dice. There's like nothing beyond that. So maybe the fact that maybe they could have gone with a shared board or something in the middle. I don't know. That might have been cool, where you're kind of competing to get through the den or whatever. But yeah, once you've got your dice and all your abilities triggered, then you basically go away and do your own little puzzle and then come back later. So I'd say the interactivity is fairly low in this game. Not much there. So that's probably the biggest downfall. And then for the solo play, I don't mind this, but I could see people not liking it. The way they handled this kind of real-time element is to have a timer. And if you want to see that, I should mention also, yeah, I did a playthrough on my channel. So if you want to see how it works solo, I did a playthrough there. And with the solo game, you're just setting up a timer, and you're doing the dice rolling within the time period instead of fighting somebody else. I think that's a good way to handle it. So solo, I think, is fine. It probably plays almost the same as multiplayer. But yeah, that's probably, if you don't like the real time element in games, and I mean, there's not. It's just in the dice rolling is the only real time part. So you might still like this. You might just want to watch the playthrough or give it a go and see what you think. 'Cause it's not all, it's a very small part of the game, really, the real time part. The Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can say about what I don't like. Um, so what do I like about the game? Like I mentioned, I do like the dice rolling part, especially in the multiplayer. In the solo, it's I don't like it as much. I don't really like the timed thing so much. I appreciate that it makes it soloable, but I don't think I'll be playing this one solo too much. Um, my favorite part is competing with somebody else to do this, especially since I'm terrible at this game. You watch the playthrough, I'm not so good at this game. Getting a high score is hard because it's kind of counterintuitive. You're not technically, killing a bunch of people. I mean, the theme of the game is kind of like the theme of the game is just kind of like a revenge. Well, it's called vengeance, so it's like a John Wick style game where you're basically trying to kill everybody in a den and kill the boss, but you're not necessarily going to kill everybody. There, you're trying to pick the best path, trying to get objectives done, and getting the objectives done is pretty important to get the points. You don't necessarily have to fully kill the boss. You'll get partial points for doing damage to him, but you'll get a bonus 5 for killing the boss. And then it's just picking tracks to run. You'll get points for running up, like this loot track. It gives you a bunch of points if you can get to the top of that. You get some points if you get up the training track. So there's a multiple ways to get points that don't even involve killing the guys on the map. So in essence, it's a scoring game. Basically, it's it's thematic, but it's all about getting the score, and whoever has a high score wins. So it's not so much like a skirmish game or anything like that, even though it's kind of presenting it a little bit like that. Now I can see if you don't like, the theme's going to be a big part of this game here. I mean, this isn't a PG theme. I mean, it's a violent theme for roll and write. So for it might not be a great family game or anything like that. Which roll and writes tend to be family games, so it's a little bit of an odd one here, where this is kind of more for a more adult audience. So yeah, but you can be a bit caution there. I mean, there's nothing really in here but it's like mob style kind of theme with and you are killing people, and that's kind of the theme of the game. You can kill as many people as you want. So theme wise, it's not super family friendly. Um, but overall, I think it's a fun game. It's quick. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and but I do find it's hard to get points in this game. Maybe I haven't played it enough yet to get really good at it. I've had a couple of decent games, but I've not. I've tried the solo play quite a few times and not beaten that. But so it is a difficult solo game. So if you want a challenging solo game to figure out, I think the key to this game is it's kind of a combination of figuring out the best way to use the characters, because there's 4 different ones in this box and 4 different ones in the other box, and then combination of that and the best way, because each map is different, and I think the way to do the maps is you kind of got to learn them and figure out the best routes to go through there, especially compared with your character and what your character is good at, which ways you might want to go through that. So that's going to take time to learn and stuff. So I think this game has a lot of staying power that way. So overall, how do I feel about this game? Overall, I think I'm going to give this game a 7. I think it's a really solid roll and write game. Like I said, it's short, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. I'm not going to play this too much solo, but it is soloable. I think some people will enjoy the solo game here. I mostly really like it I like it a lot more as a multiplayer game. I do really enjoy playing this multiplayer, even though it's kind of multiplayer solitaire. It's only got one real interaction point. As usual, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.